What is the term for the pain an addict feels when they're in clinical need of their next fix?
It's called Dopesick.
Hey, what's up, folks? This is the first in a new series I've aptly dubbed Worth Watching, because it's a super original title and definitely not something done by anyone else throughout the entirety of all eternity. The purpose of this series is to provide some spoiler-free recommendations for anything I consider to be worth your time, which in general means the quality of the writing, acting, and cinematography for any of the following recommendations are significantly above average. In this episode, we're going to explore 3 such shows that were released over the past month or so that have all met such elevated criteria: Dopesick, Midnight Mass, and Squid Game. Let's start off with Dopesick because I don't think many people are even aware of it, given it's a Hulu original and no one generally associates quality with Hulu. Dopesick features the primary talents of Michael Keaton, Rosario Dawson, and Peter Sarsgaard in this dramatization of real-life events, following the story of how an ultra-rich family of the psychopathic assholes behind Purdue Pharmaceuticals, the Sacklers, corrupted officials at the FDA and used a non-existent study to claim opioids weren't addictive in order to peddle their poison Oxycontin throughout the United States and beyond for the past quarter century. The show breaks down into 3 primary storylines, one following a small-town doctor in Appalachia who begins prescribing Oxycontin to his patients and the fallout which stems from that decision, another which follows a DEA agent who recognizes the detrimental effect of prescription opioids and is hell-bent on stopping them at their pharmaceutical source, and a final storyline which follows the prosecutors tasked with proving that Purdue knowingly pushed a highly addictive substance on the masses through deceptive advertising and practices in order to hold the company and the Sacklers themselves to account. The 4th episode of Dopesick was released this past week and delivered such an amazing performance by Keaton that it might be one of his all-time best, enough so that it's prompted me to put this show on the top of the list. You can check out Dopesick Wednesdays on Hulu, and I definitely think this one is absolutely worth watching. Next up, we've got Midnight Mass, an often long-winded, or perhaps intentionally preachy Netflix series which transforms from your typical uninspired drama into a fascinating take on the horrors of religious fanaticism. The premise of Midnight Mass is essentially thus: a small Catholic fishing village on an island somewhere in what I'm assuming is New England is rocked by a series of apparent miracles after a new priest takes over the local congregation. As for the inhabitants of the village, almost everyone in town is a hyper-religious Ned Flanders type, where going to church several times a week is just what such good old God-fearing folks do for fun. What the show does in a really clever way, and why it stands out in general, is that it takes the Catholic ritual of the Eucharist and interprets the language within this rite literally to such a horrific degree that I can't fully explain it to you without ruining the mystery within. I also have to mention that Midnight Mass is an absolute slow burn. If you don't have the patience to sit through the first 2 or 3 episodes, then this show won't be for you. However, if you do enjoy monologues and thorough character development, then you'll be surprised to find a Netflix show that's significantly above average in quality. The writing, acting, cinematography, and music are all excellent here. Everything works really well, and the story wraps up with a satisfying conclusion. If you're looking for a good series to round out the final week leading up to Halloween, then take heed of this apostate's worth watching recommendation and check out Midnight Mass, available in entirety on Netflix. Last up, we've got Squid Game, a show that's been thoroughly discussed to death, but one that nonetheless needs to be recognized for being above average in quality, especially for a Netflix series. If you've somehow been living off-world in another dimension of the multiverse and are therefore completely unaware of this show's existence, then the simplest way I can concisely convey the plot to you is thus. Hundreds of downtrodden, indebted individuals are recruited for a series of life-or-death games in an effort to win $40 million, where Highlander rules apply. There can be only one, and only one person can be declared the victor, while the hundreds of losers are summarily and literally eliminated from both the game and existence. Despite the final few episodes of the show being overtly explicit with the social commentary it's trying to convey, I found it to be compelling enough from both a narrative and visual standpoint to binge the hell out of this show. The acting from the primary cast of characters is on a complete other level compared to the standard fare spun out from Hollywood. And from a cinegraphic standpoint, the use of such vibrant colors makes the show a feast for the senses. So if you're one of the few people, perhaps someone whose timeline was just freshly merged from the Berenstain Bears alternate universe, then check out Squid Game on Netflix, as it's certainly worth watching. Alright folks, that's it for Worth Watching Episode 1. In my opinion, all of these shows are certainly worth your time, and if you've finished either Dopesick, Midnight Mass, or Squid Game, let me know what you thought of them down in the comments. And as always, it'd be greatly appreciated if you do the things the algorithm likes, and click the ever-loving hell out of those buttons. Also be sure to check me out on Twitch, as I've been streaming a fair amount recently, running through everything from Dark Souls to that crappy new Far Cry game. And for my blasphemous subscribers, note that I'll be streaming a 100% playthrough on Twitch starting on either the first or second weekend of November, so swing by and hang out. Otherwise, have a happy Halloween and take it easy.